pink color. We did our toenails also with that color. We're doing this blue dress today with our AWOKH fashion photo, with the pink celebration that we celebrated yesterday's photos. And today it's cooking day. And what are we cooking? And y'all are only going to be in the kitchen because we have done all of these recipes already, and all of these recipes are on the website of today. It is a lovely sweet mashed pumpkin, lovely potato, baked potato. I'm going to bake the potato today with our lovely Sunday spice rice, with a lovely lamb chop, with a lovely piece of chicken, right? And we're going to just do that today. It's winter. And it's the first of the winter season, and we celebrate everything. RIBEA ELISE seasons. We celebrate our fashion. We celebrate our cooking with everyone on our social media pages. We celebrate our motivational letters, our motivational writings. And y'all can really support our AWOKH business initiative with me, RIBEA ELISE, right? Another thing that we are doing today is we are celebrating. It's really rainy today. And it's really raining outside, right? And everyone's gonna want to know. So last Sunday someone said, what are you wearing, right? Let me quickly just give us a little bit of angle of what I'm wearing. So the dress, everyone saw this dress that can open and it can sew everything. And we don't want to sew everything. And then I'm wearing it with a red booty. Relationship moments and relationship cooking. So that's what we are wearing today, right? And another thing, let me quickly get oil so that I can get the lamp on so that we can start, so that that relationship atmosphere and relationship journey and relationship education is in the room while we're cooking, right? And let me quickly get oil. I thought the other day, everyone, that I now really am gonna have to do some lovely exercises because the season are now really changing and I'm now really growing into. Let me just check my rice. I don't want my rice too soft. Not too soft, I don't want it overcooked because it is basmati rice. I don't want it overcooked. There we have a lovely rice. Now it's more onion. Another thing that we have realized, it's first more onion and get our lamp started because everyone is just in the room so that we don't have to wait the whole day for the food. Yeah, what did I now want to say? So y'all have to really support our, thank you for joining our AWOKH room today, our AWOKH Sundays with me, RIBEA ELISE, right? Our AWOKH initiatives, right? We have a few things that we see on our AWOKH journey, and I've mentioned it in one of the videos yesterday. And I know for people who love to read, yes, thank you for joining the room, stay in the room and send y'all comments and thoughts, and y'all can chat with me while we are in the room, right? And while we are talking. Anyway, another thing that I was thinking about. Yes, I got my May look today. My RIBEA ELISE May look. I look like May today, that's right. I love that May fashion look with this pink, it's very nice. So, another thing that I thought about, with our AWOKH initiatives, people, was that I really thank you for joining the room. Yes, stay in the room and stay in our cooking moments and our discussions that we are having. Is that I really wanted to, a few years ago, open a store in South Africa. It is a women motivational store in the community that I'm staying, right? Thank you for joining. Yes, please like, share, comments. While I was a few years ago employed and I really wanted to rent a building and I really wanted to open a store, a woman motivational coffee shop, right? Where I really was inspired to do everything RIBEA ELISE in my community, right? And the store was mostly to support women and to make things easier for women in the community that now finds it difficult to work with governmental processes that sometimes takes time and that sometimes really sometimes set aside. And I really had the initiative and I was really adamant to do that, and I'm probably going to do that sometime. And the store would then be a normal woman coffee shop, and it will really be motivating, where women can come and share their experiences and thoughts, and where women can come and share with one another, and where the team that are employed at the store then also assist the women that are challenged in the community to find easy route through governmental processes in our community specifically. And then I wanted to move on to different communities and wanted to make that national, right? So I haven't yet done it because then I was not unemployed and I couldn't rent a building and I couldn't get all that I wanted to do, right? So for those people who's really motivated out there and who really want to support my AWOKH business, right? This is the time and the platform where we request finances for specifically that. When I was employed and I was earning a salary, then I was ready to just pay for the premises and to really sell like a burger and the chips also, and to really sell a cup of drink with that, and to really make the room much more than only a coffee shop, right? But to really make it a RIBEA ELISE purpose initiative, a AWOKH initiative, and to really say in that journey of inspiration, right? Why do I say inspirate? Of inspiring. I really wanted to say in the journey of inspiring. Yeah, of inspiring women to support women. Why? Because there's a difference with women who support women who are busy in the international world with women putting women in poverty. There's women that supports only certain businesses and processes. And my AWOKH business has now already had its 5 years on social media, and the support has really not been there. So women really doesn't support one another out there. And when it happens on an international platform where everyone is there, where the support initiatives can be shared, where funding can be shared directly to a RIBEA ELISE type of business, then such platforms don't wait so much years to get support out there. And that's why I say the initiatives and how women support one another is really a little bit biased, a little bit racist, and a little bit oppressive to the women that we are birthing in our season. I'm a mother that has given birth to 2 daughters. My mama Anna Philander has given birth to 3 daughters, and my sis Antoinette has given birth to 3 daughters and a son, right? My mama Anna Philander has given birth to 3 daughters with the 4 sons. And really, we are in a season and in a time where we are now really gonna have to logically listen to what is it that businesses support out there. Why is it that our generation take it, they take it so harsh to want to reach out to one another? They take it so offensive to want to support a RIBEA ELISE. Why do I say offensive? Because they first feel offended with everything that RIBEA ELISE do. And then they try to create that room for them where they sit and discuss RIBEA ELISE. So they are the whole time feel so offended to support another woman. That's what I've mentioned before. They put barriers there, right? That's what you call a barrier. I've really had a ministering meeting in 2018 in South Africa. The breaking those barrier meetings. And one of the things that I've learned is every time that I want to do something, then something else steps in, and then my mind is shifted from what I really want to do. So we're in a time in the year where we do not again sit in church anymore. Another day, people came to me and they said, it is church, and they have church on the Saturday, and I love the initiative. It's a very interesting and important initiative. The Zionist is a church where my mama Anna first attended. And that team in New Zealand came to me a few days ago, and they invited me to their Saturday church. And I've learned that I'm the baby now born, the 22nd 11 baby, and the Zionist is a church is now accurately decided on the 7-day-a-week work, and the church is the Saturday. And the 7th day of that is now this coming Saturday, and we are now in that we are celebrating the month of the 7 wombs, right? My mama gave birth to the 7 children, the month of the 7 wombs in the year 2024. And I realized that only yesterday. How do I know this? Logically listening to how the womb educates the woman itself and how the womb educates humanity. And why the womb sometimes requests certain processes to be direct, like the Zionist is a church that said, you know what, the 7th day was the day that is sacred, the day that is holy, and the day, the 6th Saturday, right, is the day that is holy, that is sacred, and the 7th day is the day that God was really now, often that's now the Sunday, right? And in the season that we celebrate the 7th working day. The 7th working day includes for us from counting and calculating from the 1st of June until the 7th of June is on Saturday. And because we are celebrating and educating a generation and processes that includes the 666 processes that includes the 777s. And it's not necessarily a 666 because it's an antichrist. No, it is different communications in the universe that has birthed different information to humanity, and that is where humanity finds themselves in different journeys and different life decisions. And therefore, we have the necessity to keep certain processes exactly, accurately, the way the Zionist woman said on Saturday, right? I think the church name is Zion. And she said something important, and I realized that God is a God that is very thorough. And when He requires the Saturday ministering, and the Bible specifically reminds them that there's sacred Sabbath festivals that are having to be celebrated on earth for a certain reason. And that reason is because the universe are rotating in a certain way. And the certain way is calculated in what we call the office that we are provided from, and that I had to explain so many 10,000 times, that people should support and that people should not disrupt the communication. It is the same initiative as why people find themselves on the journey that history requires them to stay on. And that is now the Saturday is now the church day, and the 7th day, the Sunday is the rest day, and being the baby of the womb, of the 7th woman, the 7 children, we are required to then acknowledge the womb in the journey that we walk in. That is, human beings are very different. In every church, requirement is going to be different for the historical journey that our families will really birth in. And for certain families, they will not really birth in the womb of the 7 babies. And I myself was now born in the womb of the 7 babies. Now we're quickly going to get this on, and I really quickly want to check something. that we do not address ourselves with, let me put this on the side, with the different choices that we have to make. And that's what we learned in this lovely womb of the seventh born babies. I always say the word burn because so many people came to me, and one of the people's names was Burn Strauss. And he was employed at Nuremberg, and there was now really a lot of aggression in Europe. And he was a European German, and they say he was from the Hitler families of those years ago. And I constantly mention his name every time I talk. And now it reminds me of the wombs that are different. The European families was then separated into the different wombs according to how they were birthed in the womb of their mamas on earth. And some people learn the communications in the sky that is up in the universe, in the heavenly realms by the stars, let's say by the stars, as they like the celebrities educate us. And because the womb are different, some people are familiar with the womb that works directly with those star connections, that knows exactly that's where we, ELISE, and family are communicating from, and that's where their families derive from. And such is the different churches on earth. And such is the different church requirements, because every church are birthed in the different womb in the universe. And that's where our household womb was then now educated. And my Mama Anna Philander's womb is the queen womb of the womb of the humanity on earth. And a lot of people have got the information, the queen womb, Mama Universe womb. Mama Universe womb then birthed in South Africa, Mama Anna Philander, presenting their journey. And because people were satellited and they realized where my Mama Anna's journeys and family's journeys derived from, it was exactly explained from the celebrity house in all accuracy. My brother Richard is, they call him King Richard. He was now Richard Philander, that was now birthed in South Africa, and the South African birth womb, the Mama Universe womb. We always talk about the Mama Universe womb of humanity. And that's where we are very firm with directing that people do not send our information elsewhere, because someone else educating from Mama RIBEA, ELISE's Mama Universe womb, that was now not the baby that was now birthed in the womb, and it was now people that was now exactly just next to the womb, then the communications is not gonna be fine, and then the earth is gonna be in wars and oppressions, because every baby that are birthed in the womb represents themselves in the womb. And such is the initiatives that we're having to educate the international world, that there's certain processes that we do not derive off of, that they do not divert off. Thank you for joining us, thank you for joining. So there's certain requirements that as a generation we do not derive off of. We are talking about the birth womb of humanity. And there's certain discussions while we are cooking today that we do not derive off of. Certain things that we do not tell ourselves that we're gonna ignore, right? We cannot ignore certain facts. And even though we try as a generation to find root around certain things, and humanity tells themselves, but yes, there's wars every day and people on this earth are dying every day, it still does not mean that humanity should divert away from what the womb represents and what the womb births on a daily basis, right? Some people want to educate themselves to find a way around the birth womb that are disrupted, and RIBEA ELISE, but here is RIBEA ELISE the person, the baby born exactly in my Mama Anna's womb. You'll educate my Mama Anna Philander's womb in American celebrity house. You'll educate the baby Annie in Europe. You'll educate the Anna baby and Anna family in China. You'll educate it in New Zealand. You'll educate the Mama Anna woman. But here's Mama Anna Philander now really born, and you'll all want to divert around the communications. And that's where humanity gets it wrong the whole time. And that's where so much wars and the aggressions happens because humanity trying to defend themselves the whole time while they are trying to divert away from what the womb and earth has really birthed in our season and in our generation. And that's where we are at with acknowledging and educating and now about HR 2024 educations, the acknowledgement, right? Recognition, the legislative law that stands next to the Zionistic requirement and that stands next to the church requirement on earth and it stands next to historical implementations, but they want to divert around to RIBEA, ELISE, Mama Anna. Then RIBEA releases to the international world. You want to ignore the womb itself. You want to stand in office and say that you are building the world. You want to imprison half of the world into imprisonment until legislative requirement. There is also the birth womb. There is also the representative and the baby that represents their own womb. There is my mama of Anna Philander that was now the baby in the queen womb of Mama Universe. And you want to divert around our household with communications. Then the legislative law has to acknowledge their responsibility and why the earth are so disruptive in our day. And I educate that on my HR 2024 office discussions every Monday. Yes, you can tune in, you can press play. It's on my Instagram and on my Facebook pages, so those discussions available. Where I really share my journey and my aggression with our generation's leaders, right? With our generation's leaders that wants to have office under the office requirement, but they want to divert away and they want to imprison half of humanity and they want to cause wars in half of the world and they want to ignore the womb that have birthed humanity and that requires acknowledgement, right? Acknowledgement is, there was once a king's process that was educated. King Charles them in Europe find themselves in the education of that, and humanity were required to abide to the king's process in accordance to every other process that were then implemented on earth, right? And then humanity diverted away from it, and humanity went to the celebrity house of America, and that was now half of the other king's process that they educated, right? So then the king's palace was the king's palace, and the celebrity house, and the celebrity house was now then the house that was now also having a room in the king's palace, and then they were acknowledged in the palace, and then by the baby that was now the baby birth in the 7 rooms that was now on my universe itself, in the acknowledgement required on earth and in the education that humanity was educated at, and then the officers wanted to divert away and they wanted to stay with what they wanted to implement on earth. And that's where the earth gets aggressive and the earth gets disruptive, because acknowledgement are due everyone and every womb on this earth. So I'm just sharing those thoughts, everyone. You're gonna want to listen to that HR 2024 educations. Specifically, the legislative house of the international world, they're gonna have to listen. I know a lot of people don't want to listen because people have really tried their best to divert away from Mama Anna Philander's house, but really everyone is gonna have to listen. It's now really not, how do I say it, to some hall. I had a ministry meeting there in 2018 with my Pete's Grace and it's now really not that I want to attend the world that we live in. It's now really not, we don't live in a I want to attend to RIBEA ELISE about educations. And I do not want to. It's really not I want to and I do not want to process. The office of the world is not I want to attend and I do not want to attend. It is a birth womb, and the birth womb are really implemented in office itself, and the birth womb are having to be acknowledged according to the requirement. Right, and now we are by the season of the seven babies, yes, that my mama Anna Philander, yes, birthed 7 children. And while we are by the education, we were now by the womb of the 666 and of all of the sixes, and all of humanity understood the 666 communications from the stars. That is now the motor vehicles on the car. There is now some electronic functions that function through that. And once the 666 stays in that mode for too long, then they need to divert onto the 777. And the 777 is now also including RIBEA ELISE, Mama Anna Philander, Queen Womb, and the Queen House, and their processes and where the queen womb is at in our generation. And it's very important for every generation to stay on track with all that technology and with all that the universe's communications requires our humanity to do, right? Every requirement on earth is an acknowledgement of the womb itself, acknowledgement of us, the people itself. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is us, the people. The people on this earth. South Africa has birthed the international birth womb. South Africa are represented by the people of South Africa, not by the government of South Africa. Why? Because the people of South Africa are people that has traveled from war countries. The womb was then the birth womb, South Africa. Our families traveled from international countries, and the South Africans were then having to educate the international world out of wars and out of poverties and out of aggressions. And while the South Africans were then representing the people's opinion. The people's opinion means when there's wars, then normally the officers, the legislative courthouse, their opinions overrule in war discussions. The South African representative today, that is the baby RIBEA, represents the families and the countries that I'm birthed from in the international world of the Mama Universe womb that has birthed us in South Africa. And I then directly am required to give my opinion, and my leadership in my business are then required to be supported. And that's why South Africans are having to get their businesses right, so that the international business owners can learn from our opinions, because our opinions is now the baby in the international womb, but not actually only the baby, but also the Mama Universe education. Because once the mama was European and the mama met a Chinese husband, and the mama's must had children, and the children traveled to Africa, and Africa made a South African, and baby RIBEA and ELISE were born, and also from America and from all the other countries and from New Zealand, and there the baby is now born, and the baby is now not actually the baby, but Mama Universe in the educational requirement. And our generation need to get it right the whole time, because our generation are disrupting one another the whole time, because not everything is having to stay blonde, right? RIBEA ELISE interbirth now can't be now having how many hair wigs does people wear all the colors. RIBEA can't now wear all those color hair wigs to explain RIBEA's baby womb, Mama Anna Philander's queen womb, right? And therefore, the international world are having to be educated. That's why I silent me when I say that. To have to be educated, because we present the people. When we present the people, the government can make a decision, and the decision can be against the people. But because we are in an office in South Africa, in the office that I was educated in, and that is now my about things to RIBEA ELISE's leadership education. Acknowledgement. This is the people under the same office requirement. That is the one mathematical 1+1 office requirement. RIBEA is acknowledged next to the requirement of my educational years in South Africa. That includes my employment history, that includes my human resources journey, that becomes the birth womb presenting itself, and that becomes the people's opinion that are then acknowledged in the legislative courthouse of America, in the legislative courthouse of the international world, when the international world find themselves aggressed and in wars. Why? That's the office of South Africa in the international womb of recognizing the office under the 1+1, acknowledging the people that are also the employee in the office, right? Legislative law stands today under the office requirement in the international world. The office requires legislative law so that the world cannot be aggressed, and the world cannot be in wars, so that the world cannot be disrupted. And the requirement are then the acknowledgement of every educational department, every educational degree, and the acknowledgement of every office and career in business. And therefore, under the educational requirement, work business are then having to be acknowledged, and the people's opinion are then in South Africa overriding the parliamentary house's opinion. Not overriding with a car, no, because this process can have the motor car that drives in the road right over the human being's life, Now the office was implemented so that the people don't find themselves in the middle of the road while the car is driving and while the processes of the car are really also communicating over the human communications. And that's why the people's opinion are then acknowledged in South African babies, in South African processes under the legislative requirement. And that's where we were educated, and I was also educated under the education requirement, so that my opinion can then directly support the international requirement of the international boom, right? So we are just in that season with our leadership education and my leading this lesson educations, and we want everyone's attention there really now, because to some people they want to divert off and they want to so often educate themselves to silent households out, and there's so much racism in all these processes that racism is not now necessarily black and white. Racism now is the birth womb of certain family lines that are oppressed amongst humanity. So we are really dealing in our generation with something totally different than other generations of people have been exposed to, right? And that's where in South Africa, the people's opinion. And that's where South African people are just waiting for the South African government to fix their businesses, because South Africa are being constructed in a way where the South African people owns the businesses of South Africa, and the South African people then educates in their business requirement to the international world, and in the birth womb of the international world requirements, then all of the South African babies are then acknowledged right in the international Mama Universe womb that are the office itself under the education requirement. Sorry for saying so much, everyone, but this is an interesting cooking Sunday, because I discuss these things and I'm leading this generation talk, and then everyone is there and then no one is in those discussions. So. When you look at a world where everyone is there, no one is actually there, because everyone wants to be there how they want to be there. Then as the international people of the world, we have a responsibility to educate fair processes in the states. Love in a world where everyone is there and where no one is there. And all of the wars and arguments and imprisonments and the legislative processes on earth, everyone is there and no one is really there. Everyone earns the money and receives that amazingness every month, and the earth is still disruptive in its processes. Now we're going to add all our lovely spices. With the lovely pepper sauce today for today's food. Lovely. We're going to add potatoes. So I'm softening the potatoes and then I'm probably going to lovely fry it first. We fry it later once the mobile goes off. The legislative courthouse of everyone is there, no one is there. Legislative leadership in our generation. And the legislative leadership on this earth today is, as I explained it in all the colors, everyone is there on my Instagram and no one is actually there. Where does such a world though, someone says. Well, Dorina, you gotta do the pumpkin for us? Dorina, you gotta cut pumpkin for us? Please. Where such a process be where everyone is there and where no one is there? That's the question, and that's what we're gonna discuss on tomorrow's video. I'm just gonna take a relax, and I'm not gonna share finished food today because we're gonna share the photos on our website. Have an amazing, interesting AWOKH Sunday with me. That's right.